Hello there everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make this Snaky Goddess Macrame bracelet, and this is what mine has turned out like. So you can see you have this snaky effect with the curves, but it's the Goddess Macrame technique that I've used to get this and achieve it. And then the bracelet itself is a little bit stiff compared to a lot with cord. That's because it's been pushed tight together, but it's still flexible enough that you can shape it and it's comfortable to wear. And then it looks a little something like this, going all the way around here, and it keeps its shape nicely and gives a really nice effect on the wrist. So if I just show you on the wrist, it'll look a little something. Just reach it there like that. So you can see that snaky effect. It really keeps that as you wear it as well. And then also what I just want to mention here is about the size of the length of the bracelet. Now the macrame part itself, so from the first knot to the last knot, is just about 6 inches. So that's a macrame part. But then when I added the cord ends, which obviously add length, and then also the clasp, whatever clasp you use will add a different length as well. It's ended up being just about a 7.5 inch bracelet. So just to let you know, you can obviously then play around with the size depending on the materials that you use, if you want to make it longer or shorter, or also depending what clasp or endings you use as well will adjust the size. So if you want to learn how to make this bracelet and get this effect, then stay tuned. So these are then the materials here that I'm going to be using for this bracelet. Now first of all we need our cord. The cord that I'm using is a 1mm satin cord here in this nice kind of silvery grey colour. And then we'll need our beads as well. So what I have is 2 different sizes, just regular rounds, and I have 4mm rounds. And then I also have the larger ones here. These are 6mm rounds. And both of these are just some purple coated hematite gemstone beads that I'm using. You can obviously use whatever you want to and combine your beads with whatever cord you want to as well. So that's then to make the main part of the bracelet. Then we also need something to finish off the bracelet with. You can do that however you want, but in this case I'm going to be using these cord ends. So they have this little U shape where you then clamp them down over the cord at the ends. So I'm going to be using those, and then the loop in that I'm going to use jump rings, extended chain, and then a lobster claw clasp. Again, you can use whatever clasp you want to. So let's get all these materials together and then let's get started. And then what we'll also need are some lengths of cord here to start making the piece. So what I have first of all are 2 lengths of the satin cord, and these are about 50 centimeters each, and these are both going to be the holding cords because we need 2 of them for this style bracelet. We also then need 1 length for our working cord, the same cord here, and this is about 2 meters long. Now it's going to be a bit more than we need, but I'd rather have too much, and also obviously it depends what size you'll need the bracelet to be. So as the first thing that I've done here is taken my 2 lengths of my holding cords, so the 2 shorter ones, and I'll just attach them onto my mini macrame board here. It just makes it nice and easy to work on, and you have all these notches all the way around. So just use whatever you have to be able to make this to fasten your cord. And then what I have as well is I'm going to take my length of the working cord. I then put the ends together, so folded it over in half to find roughly where the middle is, and then we now need to attach this working cord onto the 2 holding cords here using some square knots. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just holding on to that midpoint there, and then I take one of my ends and I'm going to put it underneath the 2 holding cords. Make sure you put it underneath both of them, and then get the midpoint laying roughly in there underneath them. And then I want to first of all attach this with a square knot. So I'm going to take my left cord, so the left side of it there, over the 2 holding cords. Then I'm going to take the right one over that, and then back underneath all of it in the middle there, while holding on to that midpoint, and up through the loop on the other side. And then you have this, which you then need to tighten that. I'm going to tighten it all the way up there. And that's the first half of a square knot. Now we need to start from the other side, so I take the right cord, put it over the 2 holding cords, then I take the left one over that, and put it underneath everything in the middle and up through the loop. And then tighten that underneath. Now that's 1 full square knot, and we also now have attached the working cords to the holding cord there. We're now ready to continue. So you just want to make a few more square knots here underneath that one, continue the same way. I'm going to make about 4 or 5 square knots, the first little section, before we then start adding in our beads as well. So now I have my 5 square knots here. It's now time to add on beads, and what I'm going to do is on the bottom here, I'm just going to release my 2 holding cords, and then I'm going to add beads onto both of these. So I'm going to load them all on, and then I'm going to come back and show you how I've set them up. So this is then how I've added all the beads on. As you can see, the 2 sides are kind of mixed up on both of them. So first I'm going to go through one. So I have the left one here. I've started out adding 3 of the 6mm, then I have 4 of the 4mm, then I have 5 of the 6mm, 4 of the 4mm, and 5 of the 6mm, and then I end on 2 of the 4mm there. And then on the right one of the 2 holding cords there, I start out with 2 4mm, then I have 5 of the 6mm, 4 of the 4mm, 5 of the 6mm, and again 4 of the 4mm, and then I finish on that one on 3 of the 6mm. And it may seem kind of random with the sizes how I've added them on, but there is a reason for that. So the way we're going to achieve that snaky effect is by using the sizes of the beads to do that. So as you can see, there's also actually a bit of a pattern to this, because we have 4 4mm, 5 6mm, 4 4mm, and so on. That's like the main pattern, and then we just have a few less at the ends to make up for that. And obviously you can also add more or less depending what size you want, but you'll have to play around with that to see what fits. So then the next step now is to go back to using the working lengths of cord here to start wrapping around all the beads and get that main part of the bracelet done. What I'm going to do before I start with that is I'm actually just going to get these cords into position. So I'm just going to take the left one underneath the cords with the beads in the middle, just straight out to the other side, just like that. And then I'm going to take the right one under that as well, just again over to the other side. I just find that they end up sitting better by doing this. It gives a better look. So there we go, and now they are ready, and what we need to do now is use these to wrap around like I said, and we're just going to use one at a time. So I'm just going to start with my left one here. So what I'm going to do is, this works just like a regular goddess macrame bracelet if you're familiar with that. We're going to wrap it around at kind of an angle. But the only difference obviously here is we have 2 different sizes of beads. There isn't a difference in doing it. The only thing is it can get a little confusing because obviously the sizes, one of the sizes there is quite a bit smaller than the other one. So it can just look a bit confusing as you're doing it. But that's why I just make sure to keep the technique the same. So I'm going to wrap from the left over towards the right. I'm going to make sure that the cord comes up between the top 2 beads on that left side. So just below the top one, the first one. And then it needs to cross over downwards a little bit at an angle and come below the top one on the right side there. And I then take the cord and put it back underneath all the beads there. So it's just wrapping around. I'm going to pull it all the way through, and then I want to make sure as I pull this through that the cord lands where I want it to sit above the top of the beads there, or the front of it. You might just need to open them up a little bit because you want the working cords to go in between the beads there, but you also don't want to pull too tight, so just kind of figure it out as you go. And then I need it to come underneath, which obviously we can't see, but we need it so it comes up below the next bead on that left side, so below the second one in this case. And then I bring it across the front again, and then just step down 1 bead every time you wrap basically. So that means it also then, just need to push some of these down a little bit, needs to come below the second bead on the right side. Then I'm going to bring it across behind them both again, bring it all the way around, and again on the left side here we need to step down another bead and bring it up underneath that, and then wrap it over the top again, stepping down another bead. And again, like the other times, bring the whole cord underneath the 2 holding cords there, underneath all the beads, and back out to the left side. You can see it's wrapping around like that. So just keep going like this all the way to the bottom. Every time you wrap, step down 1 bead and then wrap again. So do that all the way to the bottom, and then we'll need to go back and use the other one as well. So I now kept wrapping the cord here all the way to the bottom, and I've just put it out to the side for now while we'll go back and work with the other one. You can see it looks a bit wonky, but that's fine for now, because then we need to go back up to the top and start using this cord. So I'm going to take this cord that's out to the right side, and we need to start wrapping this around as well. The difference is now I'm going to wrap this across the top, but I'm just going to go above the first bead on the right side here, so just like that, but then come below the first bead on the left side, so we get that kind of zigzag crossover motion, and bring it back underneath and pull it over, and then you can see it's kind of going to connect the cords, the ends of the cords between the spaces that we left from the last one. But then now you want to make sure that it comes up below the first bead on the right side here, bring it across, and then go below the second bead on the left side, bring it underneath and come back up on the other side, now below the second bead on that. So again, now you've gotten into the rhythm of it. All you got to think is to step down one bead every time you wrap it. So below the third one, and wrap it all the way around, and keep wrapping this all the way to the bottom as well. So I now wrap both of them here all the way to the bottom, and you can see they're coming out to each their own side, which is perfect, because we now need to obviously tighten this in place, because some of the bottom beads they can still move around, and these cords aren't fastened yet. So I'm going to do that just by making some square knots on this end to then also help finish it off. So I'm just going to take my left one, bring that over the holding cords, and then take the right one over that, underneath everything and up through the loop. So the exact same square knot as I did on the other end. And then with the first one, I just like to kind of tighten it before I tighten the cords here, before I tighten it fully, and then hold it in place with my finger, and then tighten the actual first half of the knot here in place, just so it's more likely to stay in place. And then the other half of the knot, and then there we have a full square knot. You can see now this has obviously all been fastened in place. So I've got this knot, and before we move on and make some more knots, this is the point where then also want to take care of the midsection of the bracelet. So make sure that that square knot we just made is nice and tight, because before I move on, while we just have the one, it's going to be easier then. You can see we do have some kind of movement in there, but it's not quite enough of what I want. I want it to be more of a curve or a snake. So that's obviously what we're going to achieve with the different sizes. But what I want to do, because the beads are different sizes, the smaller ones, what we can do with this is I'm going to keep hold of the holding cords down here, then we can actually start pushing all the beads together. So I'm focusing on pushing, say for instance there, the smaller ones together first of all, because that's obviously where there's the most space there between them. Then I'm just going to push from the bottom as well, and then you just want to gradually keep pushing until you can't really do any more, so it's become as tight as you can see, or as curved as it can do. And there you can see it's really put much more of a curve in there than what it was before. So just keep pushing the beads together until you feel it's right and you get this nice look to it. So what I'm going to do is, once I'm happy with that, I'm going to reposition my holding cords down the bottom, and then I just want to make some more square knots down here to finish it off. And I just want to make the same amount as I did up at the beginning to make it even on both ends obviously. So here I then have my piece. I've taken it off my macrame board after finishing those square knots, because all that's left to do now really is finish off the ends fully. And like I said, I'm going to be doing that by using these cord ends. Before I do that, I just need to get rid of the excess of the working cords here. Now how I'm going to do that is, because this is a synthetic cord, I can singe down the ends with a lighter, but you could also use glue. It's completely up to you, but if you're using a natural cord you will have to use glue because you can't singe them down. But then what I'm going to do is cut down the cord so I have a couple of millimeters left sticking out from that last knot, like that, and also the other one. And then I'm going to grab a lighter. Now obviously this is a naked flame and it does get hot, so be careful of doing this if you decide to. And I'm just going to singe down those very few millimeters of cord, and then I'm just going to push it down, and then that seals it in place as well, so it won't come undone. You can also, if you're a bit worried, just use the lighter itself to kind of push it down with. So there we go. So I now have this ready, and I'm going to use these cord ends. Like I said, I already have a tutorial where I show how to do it, so I'm not going to show it in this one, but you just use these and I like to put a bit of glue in there around the holding cards, which is why I've not gotten rid of those. And then obviously we can use the loops there to attach our findings. So do all that, and then once you've done that, your bracelet will be done. So here is then the finished bracelet with the clasps attached to it, and it's now ready to wear. And you just obviously use a clasp like you would any other bracelet, and then it'll look a little something like this. So I still have this snaky effect going all the way around and keep it shaped like that. So it gives a really nice look, and it's still comfortable to wear as well. The bracelet itself is a little bit stiffer because of obviously we pushed it tight together, but it's still flexible enough to shape it and be comfortable to wear. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you very much for watching. Hello there everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beaded diamonds macrame bracelet, and it looks like this. So this is just what mine looks like with the materials that I've used. So the purple cord here alongside with my gemstones, agate there, multicolored green and purple. I thought it would go really nicely together, and then spaced out with the copper beads as well. So that's just what mine looks like. I used extender chain and lost a claw clasp here. So we're going to learn how to make this one today. Another